Hey guys, and welcome back to BIMteriors, your channel dedicated to Revit content for designers. And this week we're going to go over the Revit revision cloud. So during the process of our projects, there's usually no perfect project. So by time we get to the tendering, the construction phases, we've probably had to issue set instructions, addendum, whatever it may be, so that we can let the contractor know or the trades know that something on our drawings, our details have been changed, and we've created kind of this revision cloud, revision bubble to really identify that area on the plan, on the detail that is changing. And so today we're going to go over how do we create these, where do we place them, and more importantly too, when we bring these onto sheets, the title blocks automatically kind of put these addendums, set instructions, whatever your revisions are, it's automatically placing these onto your sheets. So let's jump into this week's session on revision clouds within Revit. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to break this down into three parts. So part one, how do we even create the revision? Name it depending on the issuance. Then how do we draw it? So using our draw tools, how do we create these revisions? Step three, even just being able to modify what it looks like, the arc style, potentially the arc scale, if you want to give it a certain color. And lastly, we're going to jump into when we place them on sheets, what is that going to look like? And how is that going to start to populate in your issuance revision schedule? So step one, at the top of your ribbon, if you go to the view tab, you open up this and you go towards the right where you kind of find yourself at the sheet composition. From there, you'll find revision. So when you select on the sheet issues / revisions, what this is allowing you to do is create a revision or an issuance. In this case here, we only have one, so the sequence is going to start at one. Revision number, so as your revisions happen, your addendums, your set instructions, whatever it may be, these will all have a number, so that this way here, when you create and tag, that's where that number is going to reference. We have the ability to number within numerical or alphabetical. So if that's A, B, C, D, or 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever your studio standard is, you have that capability. You'll start to put in the date. So if that's today's date of 2024.12.20, and then maybe like a little revision description. So potentially this is SI, if I can find my number sign, number one. We have issued, so once it's issued, you can actually select this, but just as a general note, once you select this, as you start to create, if you want to kind of put other revisions on this, you cannot. So once it's issued, it cannot be changed or things can't be added to that revision. So if you are having that issues, come over here. It's probably because this is checked on and you'll have to uncheck it. Issued to, so potentially this can be a consultant or it could be someone. So in this case here, I'm just going to issue it to myself, and issued by also myself. But you can kind of see, you can keep track of that as well. And then this allows us to show, does it show up on our plans, our details, our elevations, wherever we're creating this? Can you show the cloud and can you show the tag? So in this case here, we want them both to show up. So I'm going to leave that as is. This is where if you want to add multiple revisions, issuances, you can come to select the add component. So I can add as many as I want and start putting descriptions to these. You can do them per project or per sheet. Again, I like doing these per project, but whatever your preference, your studio standard, make sure that you're following that. If we want to move issuances from up or down, we've got that capability. So if I want issuance number 3 to move up, I can actually just bring that up. And then if I want to go down, you can then bring it down. Your arc length, we'll get into this, but this is going to be the scale of what that looks like. So we'll leave it at 20 for now to take a look at what it seems like on our plans as we're creating it, but we might want to change that, and we'll go through that exercise of changing it so you can visually see what changing it from 20 to 5 to 10 will look like. So I'm going to hit OK. And now we're going to jump into, so we've created issuance revisions, and now we want to start to highlight on the plan where these are getting modified, or we want to highlight that. So it's not in the View tab, because this is where we can go to create these issuance and revisions, but it's in the Annotate tab. So when you go to the Annotate tab, under Detail, now we've got Revision Cloud. So this allows us to create these on plan. So if you're on a plan view, detail, elevation, whatever it is, you'll come to your Annotate tool at the top of your ribbon, and under Details, you'll find Revision Clouds. So when you select on this, it's going to bring up your draw command. So very similar to all of these other functions. I'm going to maybe just draw a rectangle over our kitchen. Something's changing in our kitchen that we'll write up, but this is where I want to be able to highlight something's been modified. So once you've created your boundary, before you hit finish, what I would bring your attention to is the left-hand side on your properties. This is the revision. So what revision is this? So it's gone to sequence 3, revision 2, but maybe I want to create that SI number 1. So I can come over here, pick that issuance / revision, and once I've done that, hit on the finish edit mode. So at this point, we've created our revision, we've drawn it on our plan, and now we want to tag it. So very similar to anything tagging wise, it's in the annotation portion of the ribbon. And you can see here under tags, we want to tag by category. And when I hover over the revision cloud, it's going to tag that cloud. Now I'm just going to drag this up here. So there's multiple options with tagging. In this case here, there's a leader, but maybe it's not really to your desired needs. You want it to look a certain way. You have the ability to, at the modify revision cloud tag portion, drop this down to free end, which allows you to really bring it anywhere here. So maybe this is more suited to maybe the detail. Again, we want to make sure that this is clear and concise for whoever's getting this marked up. We also have the ability to take away the leader altogether and maybe just draw this within here. Next, we're going to jump into how can we modify what this looks like on our plans, our details, our elevations. So now we're at the point where we've created a bunch of issuances, revisions, we've drawn them, but maybe they're not to our studio standard. Maybe we want to see it a little thicker. Maybe we want to see it in red. Maybe it's a different color. So how do we go about doing that? And what you can do is in your visibility graphics, you can come to your annotation categories and you can scroll down to your revision clouds. And from here, you can override and you can change the pattern, the color, the weight. And what I would recommend is not doing this, because this is either going to be assigned to a template, so it's per category. So if that's your plans, but only to your plans. And this would have to be done to all of your templates that you have created or any one of your views. So a better solution to this is I want to do this once and I want to apply project wide. Where you can go is in the Manage tab. There's under Object Styles. So under the settings, you can go to Object Styles. Select on Object Styles, and under the Annotation Objects, there will be a category called, we'll scroll down, Revision Clouds and Tags. And then this is where you can come with, maybe we want our clouds to be a little bit more dramatic so that they're kind of in our face. We can see it. They're not in the background. So maybe I want a thickness of 3. Now my tag, I want potentially as a 1. So this is where you can play around with what it shows up on your details, on your plans, on your elevations. And maybe then we also want to give it to a color. And if that's our red that we were just discussing, we can come into here and give that a red color. Hit OK. And if we want to go one step further, align pattern. So I'm going to keep it as solid, but you have the ability to also change the line pattern. So when I go OK, you can see here, it's now changed to red. And I've got my red revision cloud. I've got my red tag, but potentially potentially those arc bubbles, they're a little too large. So how do I change that within our project? What you can do is go back to the annotate, sorry, not the annotate, but the view category. And under here, find your revisions. And this is where I talked to earlier about the arc length. So as you can see here on the left, you can still see those revision clouds and they're at 20. But if I change that to 5 and hit apply, you can see now it's getting maybe a little bit more to what you want into your studio standards. Next, we're going to jump on to how, when we place these on sheets, how do they update your schedules automatically? Okay, so we've created our revisions, our issuances, we've gone to draw them, we've tagged them, we've even customized them so that they're showing up in red, the tags, the bubbles, and we've also gone through and changed the arc length so that's getting more to where we want it to be. So next what we want to do is what happens when we place them on sheets. So this is just a generic Revit project, but you can kind of see here we have it, you can see here it's automatically placing these and updating our sheets. So we already have SI number 1, today's date, and the number. So if I come here, this is all referencing from that sheet to what's the revision cloud within this bubble. So if I come back to my plan and I'm going to go back to our revisions, I'm going to create another one with another date. So maybe it's tomorrow's date. And I'm going to call this SI number 2. And I'm going to leave it like this and hit OK. And potentially there's something in the washroom. So I'm going to come to my annotate tab and going to want to draw a new revision cloud. I'm going to want to make sure that I'm selecting revision cloud number 2. And I'm going to highlight over that. I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to want to tag this. So I'm going to go to make sure I'm in my annotation tab. I'm going to say tag by category. And in this case here, I'm going to take my leader off and I'm going to go like this. And I'm going to find a spot where it makes sense. So it's legible. You can read it and it's clear. I go back to my sheet and you can see here, it's showing up here. That's great. I got revision 1, revision 2. And as I hover over here, it's automatically here. So previously, unlike CAD, where you'd have to manually go do this, this automatically updates itself. So really user-friendly, and it avoids those human errors that we can easily make. And it's kind of just peace of mind that you don't have to worry about coordinating that. And at any point, if anything changes. So if I come back to my, if we go back to our view, we go back to our revision clouds, and maybe this changes to SI number 3. Whatever it may be, Revit's smart enough that it will actually update itself as well, worry-free, making sure that they're going to stay up to date at all times. That is a wrap on today's session with getting more comfortable with Revit tools such as Revision Cloud. So as your project progresses, as modifications happen, again, that's the nature of this industry, things change. You feel now more comfortable and confident being able to create these revision clouds to highlight the changes, modifications that are happening on your plans and details. Please like and subscribe now to gain access to new fun Revit content as it comes.